Welcome back to Grade 7 Geography, Unit Number 1, Physical Patterns in a Changing World. This is Lesson Number 11, How Are We Changing Rivers and Oceans? Before we begin today's lesson, or video, let's think of ways in which we change our rivers and oceans. Now, when I'm finished talking, you're going to put the video on pause so that you can jot down some ideas you may have about ways in which we change our rivers and oceans. You might also think back to a recent science lesson because I'm pretty sure by this point you've talked in science about changing the course of rivers and oceans, but put the video on pause and write down some ways in which we can change our rivers and oceans. All right, let's get started. People change rivers and oceans in a number of ways. Most often, we change the direction that a river flows. This is known as river diversion. Scientists estimate that we will have diverted 70% of our rivers by 2025. There are three types of river diversion: canals, dams, and new river channels. A canal is an artificial waterway that is built to allow the passage of boats or to divert water. The most famous Canadian example is the Rideau Canal in Ottawa, which you see in the picture in front of you. In Europe, canals are a very important method of transporting materials. Canals supply communities with a source of water. Canals can create environmental benefits. For example, a canal can create a shortcut for a boat to take. However, canals can also harm the environment. Since we are redirecting water flow, natural habitats will lose their water, thus harming the plants and animals that live there. A dam is a barrier that is built across a river to control the flow of water and to create a large supply of water. A dam can lead to the creation of an artificial lake, which becomes a supply of water for drinking or a source of hydroelectric power. This area of stored water is called a reservoir. While hydroelectricity is a clean source of energy, the results of building dams can be very damaging. They change the flow and levels of rivers, which can lead to other areas being eroded. Nearby ecosystems lose their water, or their water supply becomes dirty and harmful to plants and animals. Invasive species may move in and kill native species. People who used to live in the area that is now a reservoir are forced to move. And you can see some of the negative effects of dams and hydroelectricity in this image here. People can create new river channels, often for the purpose of supplying farmland with water. While this may benefit people living in a region, there can be harmful effects elsewhere. The damage to ecosystems can lead to the creation of more dams in an attempt to return some water to seas and other ecosystems. People also change rivers by polluting them. To pollute means to put harmful substances into the environment. Water pollutants include fertilizers, pesticides, engine exhaust, and gases released by factories. Water pollution kills as many as 14,000 people per day. This is mostly due to water being contaminated by sewage. In some communities, sewage is treated or cleaned before it is returned to waterways. But in many cases, sewage is not treated, which results in dirty water carrying bacteria and viruses. This dirty water is, sadly, consumed by people, plants, and animals, making them fall ill and or die. When we harm our rivers, we create downstream to the mouth of a stream or river. Eventually, this damage arrives at the ocean. This results in climate change and threatens the survival of species and ocean habitats. Various human activities are destroying ocean habitats. One such habitat that is threatened is the coral reef. Fish nets that are dragged along the ocean floor break down coral reefs. Poor farming practices result in large amounts of soil washing off the land and into oceans. Tour boats collide with coral reefs, breaking the coral. People mine coral to use as road-fil or to make new buildings. Many different toxins are dumped into the oceans. Chemicals feed on algae, causing the algae to grow faster. Algae growth cuts off sunlight, which coral needs to grow. Oceans are being polluted on a daily basis. Many people who go to the beach dump litter, such as plastic bags and bottles, into the water. Many industries use rivers and lakes as dumping grounds for toxic chemicals. These chemicals are carried by smaller bodies of water into the ocean. Smaller bodies of water also bring fertilizers to the ocean. All right, so now we're at the wrap-up activity. So what you're going to do when I finish speaking is put the video on pause so that you can try this fill in the blank activity. If you don't feel confident in completing this activity, it means you need to go back and watch this video at least 2 more times. And then when you feel confident, put the video on pause so that you can write down your solutions, which we will take up in tomorrow's class. So please put the video on pause now. All right, and tomorrow we'll see how you did with this activity as well as our opening activity. But until tomorrow's class, this concludes today's video.